Welcome to Season 2, Episode 10 of Coral, Kelp, and Community. Today I have the pleasure of speaking with Vera Urtaza Reyes from the Keystone Species Alliance. We are part of a group that I warmly refer to as my shark friends. It's a coalition of nonprofits that have banded together to help save sharks through changing the social narrative with education in primary schools, as well as raising money to tag sharks to gather critical data needed to present to the Convention on Biological Diversity in an effort to declare a global emergency for sharks. Healthy oceans need sharks. If they go, we go.
I sort of jumped in. I felt like very late because there was already a big group. So like how did the campaign actually start from the very beginning?
So, okay, my current job is executive director of Keystone Species Alliance, and we are an organization that is trying to get more protection for keystone species. My co-founder and I were literally crying because someone was like sport fishing sharks. I'm not sure if that's the, but yeah. So that was like, how can anyone like do that? Not only they are beautiful creatures, but I thought that it was like the most coward thing that I've seen in my life. Just like because it was like this really big man like showing the trophy, and I was like, but you're not even fighting it, like literally you did it from your boat. Like you're so like you're showing off this beautiful creature, that this apex predator that has such a big role in the ocean. But it's not like you jumped into the ocean and you killed it with your bare hands. No, 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 no. You did it from your boat, like drinking a beer and smoking cigarettes. It's like this. So we were like, this is horrible. And then Julia mentioned this to Christina Mittermeier, and we were like, we need to do something. And then we started like doing more research about like what is happening with sharks, and we learned that there are 2 billion sharks out in the ocean. We're killing between 150 million sharks and 200 million sharks a year. So that gives us not that much time to protect them, but also if if we don't have sharks in the ocean, we don't have ocean health. And 3 billion people around the world depend on the ocean, not only like for food but for their I mean livelihoods, their income. It's so we started learning how important sharks are for like us. Like I live in the city, and I depend on sharks, and I'm so far away from the ocean, but that does not mean that I don't that I just cannot like care about them. So besides the point of me crying about the sharks, it was like, this is this is survival. If we don't do that, if we don't do something and we don't protect them, that will only mean that we will, I mean, that's why the logo was, if they go we go, because people need to like understand that nature is a system. And even if we're not like living near the ocean, or it's all connected. The ocean is like, we need the ocean for the climate system in the world, we need the ocean for food, we need the ocean for so many things. And these beautiful creatures, they mean ocean health. I mean, they control every trophic cascade in the ocean. That's how important they are. And they are incredibly misunderstood, because I hate it, but I started asking people around me, like, what do you think when I say shark? And they were like, this huge, uh, like male predator, man-eating beast, like mindless beast that is just like out there, like looking for what it can kill. And it is not the case. So, I mean, once we start talking about who's involved in this campaign, but yeah, I mean, I learned that so basically they're not like that. They do like think they have families. They can I mean, yes, they're most of them are like alone in the ocean, but that does not mean that they're not like community. There are not communities of sharks. So yes, I think that's what inspired us to act. The fact that yeah, we couldn't, it was it was just not something that I could think of, that in my time learning this, I wouldn't be involved in saving sharks. Basically, like I have just a few years to get active and try to protect the sharks. So basically, yeah, that would be the answer. That I don't see myself doing anything else than protecting the sharks.
That's a great answer. I heard about your or this campaign from Rachel Bustamante, who is actually the very first guest, season 1, episode 1 on this podcast, right? Love her. Because she just published that great paper about shark protection. And so you're from Keystone Species Alliance. She was at the Earth Law Center at the time. But I know there's more organizations involved in this campaign. So who else is involved and how did they get involved?
Okay, so I met Rachel in Montreal at CBD 2 years ago at the Convention on Biological Diversity, and we connected through sharks. Well, through many things, but it was like sharks. So the first moment that we started developing this campaign, and they are working on the personhood of nature. Basically, they're fighting to give nature rights. As I mean, for us, nature is a living creature. I don't know, a living entity, whatever. I don't know how to put it in words. So yes, when we started discussing this campaign, Rachel was amazing. She was this force of nature. She was like typing down everything and just like creating documents, and I was like, wow, I had an idea, but this woman just has like she gave it structure, voice, everything. So she was amazing. And then we included Mares de Mexico. Mares de Mexico, the executive director and founder is Alonso Rodriguez, and he dives with sharks. And so I was telling him about this campaign, and he was like, "Well, I have actually dived with white sharks, and they are not, I mean, just like connecting on this idea that the narrative is off with sharks. He was like, I've dived with them and they are the most peaceful creatures that I've dived with." Yes, Mares de Mexico, Earth Law Center, Pelajes Cacunja, which is also Mexican organization. We have Saving Our Sharks, Snorkeling for Trash, and everyone just got involved because they love sharks, and most of them have been diving with sharks for years. And so they were like, "How can help?" Because everything is like a collaborative effort, and we believe that without collaboration, how can we teach the average citizen individual that they need to get involved? If we're not doing that as organizations, how can we like push for anyone else to join us? Then you joined, of course. You gave it more structure, more more meaning to this campaign. And so yes, it's just like a lot of ocean enthusiasts and shark enthusiasts. That word is interesting. And yeah, so we started like building this campaign. We learned from Saving Our Sharks, and because we were talking about this narrative behind sharks and how everyone thinks that they are males and da 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 da. And they were like, no, we actually have bull sharks, like pregnant bull sharks in Playa del Carmen. And I was like, wow, I've never thought of that. So the more we like continue growing and expanding this campaign, we are like ourselves, we continue learning like where we wanted to take this campaign, and how we wanted to build it. And so pregnant bull sharks, that was my eye-opening moment of how little I knew about sharks. I love them, I was like, okay, I didn't even know that they could get pregnant. And even if I'm not into like giving human characteristics to animals, so but I know that that's like an amazing way to connect with them. And for me, I am a mom, so by thinking that this beautiful, like, huge predator could be a mom, I was like, okay, this has done something to me, so maybe it can do the same for others.
You bring up a really good point about the social narrative about sharks,
Hmm.
right? Like they're just these, in our minds, they're these awful predators, man eaters, and just, like swim, kill, never sleep. And, we associate them with people we don't like,
Hmm.
like people in business who are mean sharks, or that lawyer is a shark, which
Hmm.
I always had mixed feelings about having a law degree. Uh, I'm like, it's true, but not in the way you think, because sharks are awesome.
They are so gentle. Yes, I know.
Yeah, like, you bet I'm a shark. I'm a happy, feminine, compassionate shark,
On my hammerhead.
But
I love that.
yeah, like, pregnant bull sharks.
Love it.
But that's and it's, and it's as much as I love the movie Jaws, like, I think it traumatized so many people, and it was not good PR for sharks. Oh my
No.
god. And so I imagine, like, we need campaigns like this to get people connected with sharks in a fun, myth-busting, eye-opening way, like you learning that sharks can be pregnant. Like they don't just lay eggs, like
Mm-mm.
other fish. Uh, and they actually have 3 modes of reproduction, which is super fascinating.
Oh, really?
Some lay eggs. Yeah, some lay eggs, some are pregnant, and their pups actually nurse off of the uterine wall.
Wow.
Yeah, and then they give live birth, and then there's, I forget the 3rd method now,
It's like a that.
but it's really interesting. It's like this weird overlap of being a fish and then the mammal thing of pregnancy, but yeah, like, they're absolutely fascinating creatures. They've been around since, like, the frickin' dinosaurs, like,
Wow.
they're just so cool, and most of them, they don't care about human beings. They don't wanna eat us.
I saw.
We're not
Yeah.
we're not tasty to them.
No,
Especially those of us that eat junk food, we probably taste like junk, you
unless
know,
you're a
like
vegan or something, like,
yeah, unless you're
great
some super
diet.
healthy person, maybe you're not so gamey, but, like, usually and, like, I surf, and I know that usually if a surfer gets bit, they don't wanna eat you because most of us are wrapped in rubber,
Mhm.
right? Gross.
Ew, yeah.
No one wants to eat a wetsuit, anyway, obviously, I love sharks. I'm happy to get into their home and respect that they are, in fact, the locals. Uh, but the whole societal narrative thing, before I ramble too much about my own love for sharks, uh
This is what the campaign is about, so no worries.
yes! But, what would you say is, like, the core message of the campaign?
I mean, just like we have keystone species in every ecosystem, we as humans can be keystone species for other species. So the narrative is that we need to become stewards. We need to protect every single life, like, form on Earth. That's and just like sharks, I mean, they literally give structure to the ocean, and that's what we have done inland. So, I mean, there are many ways in which we can connect to sharks. Everyone who has been part of this campaign, we are so aligned in the we need to just become better companions for life on Earth. And this is something that I sent to Rachel, the shark infested waters, and it was like it's a shark swimming with a side eye, like, this is my home. Like,
I know, that phrase makes no sense. It's more like human-infested waters. Like, we're entering their home. Where else are the sharks supposed to be if not in the water? The first time I heard that phrase, "shark-infested waters," I was so stunned that I actually did a painting of sharks swimming in a forest,
Mm.
because I'm like, "This makes as much sense as saying they infest the water." Like, they shouldn't, as if they shouldn't be there somehow,
Yeah,
like,
like
I'll tell you where they shouldn't be, the forest. Like, the
your house.
redwood forest, like,
Your
what the
living
hell?
room.
Yeah, like, it makes no sense.
So I was talking to this amazing friend. He films sharks around the world. His name is Juan Bonilla, and he shared because he was like, "You're forgetting something that can be very useful for this campaign." And I was like, "What?" And he was like, "Baby sharks." And I was like, "Yes, I completely forgot about them because that's something that we like. I don't see them. It's not like we see like pictures or videos." And he sent me a video of a baby hammerhead,
Hmm.
and I was like, I'm crying again. This campaign is giving me life. It's reminding me of why I joined this movement, and this is exactly why. Because I don't know, but yes. So baby sharks, pregnant sharks, and that's why we're trying to use to change the narrative around sharks. And something else that I recently learned is because we have this idea of the great white shark, like this is like the infamous, the worst of the worst. And I we spoke with this amazing group that works with great the great white in California. But yeah, so they mentioned that even if like the big female white, she's like this really empowered, like I don't know. I want to say a woman, but I know that she's not. Like she's this amazing female that she knows that she owns the ocean. Like you can see it. Like you can tell that she knows how big she is, and even if they because they throw the fish for it to draw her into the to the boat. Forgot the name, the word,
I think
and
it's chum.
maybe.
Yeah, you throw chum in the water to attract
Yeah.
sharks
It's
typically, and
in
it's
my head,
yeah.
it's in Spanish. It's
Of
carnada.
course, yeah.
But I'm sure that that's not something that everyone will understand. And even if they throw the chum, you said?
Mm.
Okay, they throw it into the ocean and they think that she will just go at it and like not think, like just straight like into hunt mood and hunt mode, and that doesn't happen. She strategizes, she she observes, and once she finds out if the space is safe for her to do that, then she goes for it. And if she's not hungry, she will ignore it. Like it's not like she's eating like us, but like I can sit and just finish like a whole box of whatever you put in my lap without even thinking. they,
What is wrong with us?
they have self-control. I don't. I'm just I'm worst. But
Oh
yeah,
god, I know.
that's something that I mean they taught us that, and and this is like a very I'm going to numbers, but this is something that really worried them because there are like the only 300 great whites, 70 female. So that's like a very like not a good number in terms of sharks because yeah. So one thing that we're trying to do here in Mexico is protect where they breed, where they nest, with everything, because this is fascinating. But so sharks depend on mangroves. A lot of sharks depend on mangroves, we just decided to build like hotels on top of mangroves because we needed that space. Human infested
Human-infested mangroves.
mangroves, beaches, ocean. So yes, I mean that's something else that just makes you want to act. And some like this campaign, basically, it's going to be first, we're going to try to sensitize people around sharks, their importance, try to connect people to sharks. We're going to launch it here in Mexico, in Quintana Roo. We're going to launch it in collaboration with the Minister of Environment of Quintana Roo and saving our sharks, because they have this amazing project in Quintana Roo where, okay, so the communities that used to fish sharks now are working to protect sharks, and they are the most excited when they see different species of sharks, and they are learning, they're diving with them. So it is, and we spoke with them when we were in Quintana Roo. I think it was January, and it was amazing to learn how from the these are just like fishing like resources to the we respect them, and now we depend on them, because in Isla Mujeres they basically there were no sharks. And now populations are growing, and this has been like a 12-year project, included the because they call them the fat ones, the pregnant bull sharks. So they arrive fat. This is not fat phobic, I swear. That's what they call them. It's communities. It's not me. I
It's
didn't
fine.
name them.
It's fine.
So they call them the fat ones, and they arrive fat, and then they were not fat anymore. They were not skinny, but like average shark size. So they shrank exactly. So they were like, "What's going on?" And that's how they learned that these were pregnant bull sharks, and that they gave birth in the mangroves. So they're working to protect that region, because it was even part of a Mayan legend, uh, where like these sharks sorry, giving birth somewhere. So it took them like 12 years to develop both projects, the one with the fishing community, so the communities that used to fish sharks, and now the where do the pregnant sharks give birth. So that's what they're doing. I'm sure they have lots of different projects. These are the two ones that they shared with us. And so yes, we're going to launch it in Quintana Roo. The final goal, like the where we're going to see if this worked, is we're going to try to send a report to global leaders on the state of sharks at CBD, so they can maybe call for a state of emergency, because even, I mean, it depends on which country and da, 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 da. But in high seas, anything can happen. Like no one, white tips, they're not protected. I hate them. I really, this is so frustrating, because it's like we all depend on this, and your job is to protect it, not protect the fishing industry, not protect, like, you need to protect this. Like, that's why we're paying you. You're literally a government official. You're a public servant. This is me. Sorry, this does not represent Keystone Species Alliance.
Well, I mean, if you think about it logically, like, even if you want to protect the fishing industry, you have to protect sharks, and you have
Yes.
to protect fish, because if you don't regulate anything, if you say, "Oh, go forth and have at it with all of the tools that you want and all of the fishing methods you want," and there's a reason fisheries collapse,
Yes.
you know? And then yeah, like, there's a lot of our systems, whether it's the fishing industry or any other economic system really, it's built on short-term goals.
Hmm.
And that is why, historically, since we've been keeping records of fishing anything from around the world, whether it's sea cucumbers in the South Pacific
Hmm.
since, like, the 18-ish hundreds, or, the cod fishery collapse in Canada in the 90s, if you protect the fish, you protect the long-term livelihoods of people who depend on the fish.
Yes. That
And on the high seas, it is not communities. It
no.
is
The,
it's just, like, huge multinational fishing conglomerates,
hmm.
uh, I should stop now because I did a lot of research into why we should just ban high seas fishing and how it'll actually be the most equitable solution and the most ecologically viable. Uh, so don't get me started. We'll go back to sharks and mangroves.
And that's pretty side of things. Okay.
Yeah,
So yeah.
quickly.
But yeah, I mean, hopefully, and just like you said, the more sharks we have in the ocean, the healthier the fish populations will be. And that's something that people tend not to, I don't know, they don't know it, and it's not their fault. I didn't know it. But yeah, I mean, this is because that's something else that we saw when we were like reading through all the sport fishing of sharks articles and all this huge like organizations. I don't know if they are organizations, it's just like company. I don't know what they are. They were promoting it, and they were like,
Mhm.
"Just kill that beast that is like taking your fish." And I was like, "No, no, 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 no. We depend on it." And not only that, like if you want bigger fish and healthier fish, you need that shark in the ocean. The more shark, the more diversity you will have. The more healthy it will be. The yes, sharks. Sharks healthy sharks, healthy oceans. That's our mantra. But yes.
Yeah, I mean, and that totally goes back to what we talked about before of the core message, which is, if sharks go, we go.
Mhm.
And, we have this in common with sharks. Sharks are an apex predator.
Mhm.
And without our tools and our tech, we're not really apex predators.
No.
Um, but if you think about it, like if we were to go up against other animals, their claws, our hands, we probably would not win. Um, but we've developed certain tools that put us in the position of being apex predators because we can create trophic cascades and completely shift things. And so I think it would serve us well to learn from the roles of other apex predators like sharks and beavers and what is it they do for their ecosystem that keeps it healthy,
Yeah.
that keeps they keep the populations in check. Tiger sharks, we're talking about pregnant tiger sharks, right?
Mm.
When they swim through a seagrass bed, they keep sea turtles on the move just out of, the intimidation factor, which prevents sea turtles from overgrazing the seagrass bed. And the seagrass bed is critical habitat for so many things, and it's a massive carbon sink. So, like, just their pure existence, regardless of anything else they're doing, helps us store carbon.
Yes.
Like, never mind all of the other reasons that we need sharks. And yeah, so it's a great message.
I mean, hopefully we can reach many people and many people will want to join. I mean, for
Mhm.
example, Alonso, he has amazing pictures of sharks and he been like really close to sharks, which is like also something that can debunk this narrative of like really aggressive sharks. And if you go into their territory, they will kill you. And Alonso has been like diving with them, like without any like a cage or anything, like literally six huge white sharks, and he was like, "Oh, nothing happens." Um, I know that we've been laughing a lot during this podcast, which is good, but these numbers are terrifying if you think about the consequences that it can have on life as we know it, because that is exactly what climate change and and biodiversity loss will be. This is something that I recently learned. So climate change is the symptom, biodiversity loss is the cause. And that's something that we need to keep in mind because biodiversity loss is not something that is on the table discussed as much as climate change. But this is literally our life support, the web that supports life on Earth. So we need to protect it. And every single part of it is vital.
Mhm.
So, especially when we talk about sharks and apex predators, we need them. It is survival, but it is. In the meantime, we can have fun saving the sharks.
Oh, yeah. If dancing isn't part of the revolution, I'm not in it.
Yeah, I love that. I'm going to steal it.
For sure. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing all of this fantastic information and reaching out to my listeners.
Oh, well, thank you to all the listeners. I keep forgetting that it is a podcast.
That's when you know you're having good conversation.